I walk away from that game a little bit torn. I like I said on KBN, I always keep the main thing, and the main thing is walking out of there with a win. Like that is the.
So what's this torn garbage?
Because I don't think that should be the brand of football that they like. I get they're not happy about it, but that's not the brand of football that they want to put out there.
Well, explain what brand. Defense gave up 12 points.
Yep.
Okay.
Offense was sloppy. I think the defense did gave up chunk plays at time.
In that one.
Right? That's the type of game.
Yeah, but then the next series with the game on the line, they took care of business.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Brand. Back to the brand. I shouldn't ask you for an opening statement and then disagree. You're not aware of this. I won't do it in the future. And
well, I'm just saying you want me to talk about it.
We will, but I want to let you know Chris Carter was not a regular guest. He came on, and I asked him his opinion, and I disagreed. He said, why would you bring me on my show and ask for my opinion if you're going to disagree with it? And I thought, that's a pretty good point. It's just started from there. All right, so I apologize. Take two, Bryan Bulaga with the opening statement. The brand.
Yes, I don't think that's the way Matt LaFleur, when he turns on the tape on Monday, that's the style that he's looking for. Like, I get it. It's hard to win in the NFL. Like, I'm more than understanding of that. And like I said at the start, the main thing is a win. But when you go play a team that you're better than, you're a lot better than, you can't allow a team like that to hang around in the game for as long as they did. Mm-hmm. Because against a team that may be slightly better, they're going to come back and potentially steal that game from you. And that is not what you want to be consistently going into week in and week out when you're playing. I mean, I'm just going to say it, inferior opponents. Right. Like, that's what the Rams are. And the things that continue to pop up to me, at least, and maybe you're different, maybe you look at it from a defensive standpoint. And, you know, I always try to find the positive in this because I played with a lot of these guys and know how good they are. But the pass rush again against the Rams offensive line, who I don't think is a great offensive line, it continues to be an issue, right? And it becomes an issue.
If I can interrupt, sir, because this is a great point, because you are expert offensive line. When you watched the game, did you think, wait a minute, that offensive line is better than I gave them credit for, knowing the ones they were missing? Or, well, what? Like, you should be able to get by those guys more often than we are.
I'm not going to take anything away from the guys up front for the Rams. They did their job really well. Like, they played good, but like, that doesn't mean, like, to me, just because they played good doesn't mean that Green Bay's D-line shouldn't have been winning on a more consistent basis, is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, no, I got the style that you said LaFleur doesn't like the brand. Didn't dominate enough against a bad team. Now, he's not going to say that, but that's what you're basically referring to.
Yes.
And then the pass rush, just not good enough again, right?
I don't think so.
All right,
I mean,
I'm just making your list.
Hey, and you know what? Maybe someone else thinks it was good enough, and that's fine. Like, I'll be more than happy to go over it, and we could talk about it.
And I might ask them their opinion, but right now it's yours, and it's yours. Yeah. So we now have two. Didn't dominate enough against the bad team, and that's everything. Pass rush just isn't good enough. All right. Anything else on the style and brand that LaFleur just wouldn't think is good enough yesterday?
I still think that they can run the football better. Okay. And I just think that's going to have to be a staple for this team, is running the ball really effective and getting. And listen, I'm not saying they need to average over 100 a game or something like that. You know, like, that's hard to do in the NFL. Like, again, I get it, but like, I just feel like there's so much more out there for this team in the run game, and it's just not there yet. And I think that's something he knows, especially as Jordan Love continues to build into the season from his injury, that has to be there, is the run game. And it's got to be.
Are you saying run better or run more? What were you thinking in the first half? Or is it both?
A little bit of both. Right. A little bit of both. And like, How many touches did Jacobs get yesterday? What was it? I think like 20 or something like that?
I will check, but you sound like Gary Ellison. My answer to you is you don't need the number because you're thinking throughout the game not enough. I mean, Gary's saying you have to give him more carries to get him going.
Yeah, it was 20, 19 carries and 1 reception.
Yeah, 19 carries. Like, I feel like that game, and obviously the Rams did their job, right? They didn't allow this to be a game where Green Bay could just go down there and run the ball all the time. I mean, the Rams defense played good. You got to give them their due, right? Like they played well, and I didn't really. I mean, I thought Green Bay would have their way with them, especially up front, especially in the run game, and it just wasn't there. But like early in these games, that you should be able to go impose your will on a team like that with the running back that you have, and just completely take this thing over and just absolutely shut this team down. The Rams, that is, within 2 quarters of that game, but they didn't, and the Rams hung around. And then obviously the mistake by Jordan Love, the little safety that turned into a pick six, that flips the game around. That gives the Rams life. And we're talking about a different game. And I think if there's anybody that, looks at that and is like, man, what was that? It's probably Jordan Love. It's probably something that he will never do again. But at the same time, like, I continue to give Jordan Love grace, because not only like is he coming off an injury, like people sometimes think like he's started 80, 90 games in the NFL. He hasn't. Like, it's just the truth of it. He hasn't started that many games in the NFL. He's still a young starter in this league, and he's learning every week he plays. He learns defenses, he learns situations, and he's constantly learning while obviously winning games. So like, I give him a little leeway with these things and still knocking off rust. But I think everyone can say that, like, and listen, I don't think Jordan played bad by any stretch. Like, I don't think he played a bad game, but I think people still continue to expect way more out of him because of what he did at the end of last year and that streak he went out. I just look at it. I just want him to play a little bit cleaner. Like, I don't think he needs to put up 350 yards a game and things like that. Just a little bit cleaner. And obviously, that pick doesn't happen. That game's over. Like, it really is. I mean, even if I guess, do you take the safety or do you take the pick? I mean, you would take the safety. But I'm saying, if that situation didn't happen, say the Packers just punted it away, I think the game's in control, but it didn't, and it turned out the way it did. But I'll still continue to keep the main thing. The main thing is the win. You walk away there in a win with looking at the tape with a lot to improve on, and now you're welcoming a team in this week that is riding high after beating the 49ers. So there's a lot to prepare for. Yes, you got to learn from it, but you got to start moving on to Arizona because they're coming in awfully confident.
Talking with Bryan Bulaga, 1-800-990-3776. He loves to talk to the fans if you have questions for him. Thinking of my Discount Liquor Twitter poll question. Who has disappointed you the most? Jordan Love, Rashawn Gary, or I need a third. You have a third?
Do I have a third?
Well, no, you're not. You don't have to have one, but whether you would suggest one.
Like, but see, I don't know if I'd like the word disappointed. Like, I'm not disappointed in Jordan Love, nor am I disappointed in Rashawn Gary. Like, disappointment's a strong word. Like, that's like something I say to my daughter when she climbs the cabinet and gets down 5 bags of Skittles and eats them all in her room at night. Like, that's what I say to her. Like, I'm disappointed in you for that. So, like, I'm not disappointed at them or how they're playing. I just think it needs, like, I'm not even talking Jordan Love here. I think everyone's really on Rashawn Gary right now. And the numbers need to be better. The output needs to be better, but I'm not disappointed in him. I just want to see him be himself and play like himself. And it's just not there right now.
Can I ask you a question? What would someone have to do for you actually to be disappointed in them? Maybe Dobbs? You disappointed in Dobbs?
Yeah. Listen, if that turns out to be what it is, and that is why, he stayed away, like 100%. Like, obviously, we don't know every single fact of that yet. But if that is what it turns out to be, is that he was unhappy with his role in the first 4 weeks and he just stayed away from the building, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, that's disappointing. And for a guy that, I mean, going into training camp, a lot of people talking about this is one of the leaders on the football team. A lot of expectations. Jordan Love was talking him up throughout training camp. Like, there was a lot of, I don't know, a lot of like juice from this guy, and then he does that. It's just if that turns out to be what it is, then yeah, that's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, see, and I there's something else going on that it's just too bizarre. It's just like, you've been around a long time. I don't think you can ever think of a player doing that. Like, I don't want to go to practice because whatever. You still go to practice. You just maybe don't practice. But there's to me, there just has to be more going other than if it's unique, and if it no, like, okay, I'm mad at practice. I'm mad or I'm upset about the team, so I come to practice naked. That doesn't happen. I mean, but that's what this is. Like, I would say, and I've said again, if I'm on the team, I'm worried about this guy. I'm not thinking about football right now. I'm worried about this player as a person. This is not normal.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's kind of why, I put it the way I put it. If this is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know everything.
Right, but there's no logical, it can't be, I'm just not happy with this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? Because, and you've alluded to it, you have people around you. Who around you is going to say, yeah, just don't go to practice and don't call them?
Nobody.
I mean, because if Homer was the group, I would just say, just tell them it's family. You can always use family. You don't have to have any explanation. It's just family. You get a pass.
But the thing is, like, you would always reach out to somebody at the team. Like,
yes.
Someone's not knocking on your door making sure you're okay. Like, that doesn't happen.
I don't think you've ever had that occur, right? Are you ever aware of a teammate or this team? I bet not.
No, not that I'm aware of, and I'm pretty sure I would have heard it at some point.
Of course, because everybody would say, "What the hell's going on?" Like he's upset. What, you think you're the first person?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Join the club of humanity. Come on.
Yeah, and like, I tried to, and on the pregame show, and I talked about, I mean, obviously how blessed I was to have the receivers that I had when I was in Green Bay. Some amazing wide receivers, and they didn't all get the ball as much as they wanted, or much as they thought they needed it throughout a season, let alone throughout a few weeks. I could have never imagined James Jones not showing up to practice because he's unhappy with it. Like,
it's unfair to divas to say that's what divas would do, because there've been a ton of divas, and none of them, I think, have ever done that.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm very confused by the situation. Yeah. And obviously you stated it. Like, I hope he's okay. Like, that's my biggest concern. Like, I hope he's okay. And if it is just him being upset about his role, like, come on, dude, this team needs you. Like, they need you. Like, they need you out there. They need you to be you and just play ball.
Right. But I mean, if I was a teammate, I would think, I don't know that I can ever trust this guy. What's he going to do next? He can still prove it by playing, but that's on your resume when something's that bizarre. When you fill your tank with root beer and it doesn't, and the car doesn't start, you go, you carry that for a while. Like, I don't know how, maybe over time or if given what Jair did last year was a little strange, but this multiplies it by 10.
Yeah, this is completely different. Like, okay, Jair going out for a coin toss. Okay, like, all right, that, like, come on, dude, like, a little bizarre, right? Like, no one's really, like, and then you find out he wasn't supposed to be there. Like, okay, like, all right, but just not showing up is, I mean, like, that to me, like, I can't even fathom that as a guy that, yeah, sure. There were times where us up front, like, man, this is getting old pass blocking 45 times a game. Like, this, I don't like this. But that doesn't mean I'm not showing up to work.